Hey, my little sweet tarts. What have we got here today? Edible chocolate. Let's talk about how versatile this stuff is. Whenever I have a custom cake coming up, chances are it's going to have edible chocolate on it if it has a shaped creation. This stuff is so easy to work with, guys, and it's super easy to make. And I feel like if you ever wanted to delve into your own cake making and creating, you need to know how to make this stuff. You can add any kind of coloring to it, gel or otherwise. It's very versatile. You can wrap it around wire. You can shape it as is. I love chocolate molding. And then once you're done with your creation, if you don't touch it for a while, it holds its shape, it dries to a point, and it keeps that crisp look of what you've just designed. So let's jump into this real quick. If you can go to any of your local stores and find this almond bark, I prefer almond bark. It doesn't matter what brand. It's already got a little bit of oil content in it, so when it melts, it's easier to work with. I would base this recipe off about half a bag. That's what I had left in here today. Half a bag would be 12 ounces. Don't fuss over the measurements a whole lot, because here's how this stuff works. It's basically two ingredients. It's chocolate and corn syrup. If I use a half a bag of this, I'm going to use about an eighth a cup, quarter cup of corn syrup, depending on how stiff I want this chocolate molding to be. This batch actually turned out a little soft for me. It's a little bit doughy, and I do have an upcoming creation where I have to make from Wednesday, and I don't think this is going to hold the shape of a standing hand. So we're going to go ahead and make a batch for my own personal use that's a little stiffer than this. So what I want to do is break up half this bag into the cup. We're just going to throw this joker in the microwave. If you want to use a double boiler, go ahead. I'm not fancy. The shit's going in the microwave. So about 30 seconds, stir it up. The bowl's going to be getting hot. Once you let it sit for a little bit, throw it back in the microwave, another 15 seconds, stir it up, but just let it sit in the pot and warm until it starts dissolving. Don't overcook it. Do these in little intervals of 10 or 15 seconds, depending on your microwave. So let's do that now, and then when I come back with melted chocolate, we'll finish the rest. Okay guys, I'm back with my melted chocolate. Just go ahead and give it a quick scrape around the outside. Make sure you don't have any big clumps left in there anywhere. This next part goes really fast because what you're looking for is for this chocolate to seize. It's not going to be smooth anymore. I probably should have mentioned to grab yourself a piece of parchment paper, wax paper, freezer paper. I don't care what kind of paper. I'm going to lay that out real quick. And because my last batch was kind of soft, that means I added a little bit too much corn syrup to it. To make it a little bit stiffer, it still won't, I'm trying to think how to explain this. You don't want the chocolate to stick to you anymore. You don't want it to have a melting agent where it can actually get chocolate on you anymore. You want it to turn into a Play-Doh. So you have to put enough of this for that to happen. But I put too much and I ended up with more of a dough. I want it to be stiffer to support that shape. So I'm going to use less this time. So to that half a bag I mentioned, I'm going to use about an eighth of a cup. Now, I don't measure anything. I'm sorry. I suck at measurement. For some reason, I eyeball everything. So far, it works for me. I own a bakery. I can't be doing too bad. But I will do my best to be getting you guys the right and accurate measurements for these things. Now, as I stir this, you're going to see it starts to seize up and look chunky. And this is the point to which you want to stop mixing this up. Drop it right down on that parchment paper, getting everything out of the cup that you can in this moment, because you're running out of time to work with this before you disturb the physics here. I see a couple little spots where I didn't touch the chocolate. So we're going to go ahead and put that on the sheet. And I'm going to cover this up and smooth it out. And now I'm going to go put this baby in the fridge and let it cool down. When it comes out of the refrigerator, you should have yourself a dough to work with. Alright guys, we got this out of the refrigerator. I'm going to say that it sat in there for about 20 minutes, maybe a little less, but it just enough to start hardening it up to where I could get it to hold its shape. So basically I have a chocolate pancake here. So what you need to do at this point is kind of break it down a little bit and start working it with your hands. Kind of like if you were using a polymer clay. The more you handle it, the softer it gets and the easier it is to work with. But also keep that in mind. That's a very good point. While you're making your creations, you're not going to want to handle it much longer than the heating point. If you notice that your creation isn't holding shape, or that when you touch it, it dents it too far or overcorrects a problem, you want to just leave it alone a minute. Give it a little bit of time in the fridge, or just give it a little bit of time that you're not touching it with your hands. But pretty much we're kneading it at this point to make it pliable to use it in any future recipe. Now, I have seen my chocolate molding stay alive up to 6-8 months in the bottom refrigerator drawer, or just in a large tote. Once it's had sugar added to it, it's good for a long time. I probably wouldn't go past an 8-month expiration on a chocolate, just simply because chocolate itself has a time frame. But from this point, you can either go ahead and add your gel coloring, or I could have mentioned that you could add the gel coloring while you were mixing it in the microwave, but we could talk about that at a later point. Your chocolate molding is ready to go at this point, and I hope I didn't miss too much content about this guy. It's a fairly simple thing to make. This is almost easier than fondant because you don't have to sit and knead it and knead it and knead it until it's hard enough. I love chocolate molding. So if there's anything I can help you with, drop me a question down below. I'll get to any questions that you may have about this product or about where to purchase any of these items, but they should be available at any of your local stores. If you don't mind, go ahead and hit the like button for me. Dislike button if I ramble too much. I am old. I have a tendency to go on and on and on, but I tried to get to the point. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you. Have a great day.